fucking yo, welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're taking a look at another show review, and today we're taking a look at Netflix's One Piece. I'm gonna be honest, I put this off for way too long, but since I watched the Avatar, I decided to watch this as well, and I put it off for way too long. Again, I have started watching One Piece, so I'm gonna do the same thing which I did for Avatar, where I'm gonna go into this and try and be as open-minded as possible and try and look at this as more of its own thing instead of trying to be a one-for-one recreation of the anime. As I'm going to be honest, if it was a one-for-one recreation, it would get boring, it would get tired, it would get old. So I'm quite happy that they're sort of changing some things up, like they have done with the Turtles throughout each iteration, to make it slightly new, to make it slightly better, to make it slightly more interesting. And I'm going to be honest, I quite enjoyed this. There is 8 episodes, all around an hour each, and the main story, according to Google, is Monkey D. Luffy and his pirate crew explore a fantastical world of endless oceans and exotic islands in search of the world's ultimate treasure to become the next pirate king. Again, there is 1,000 plus episodes of the anime, and they have only just covered what looks to be the first couple of seasons of One Piece itself. So the story starts out with Luffy on a sinking ship that gets picked up by this evil pirate lady, and Luffy meets a pink-haired kid, and they team up to go to the marine base, and they defeat the evil pirate girl and leave to find the marine base. He's gonna go steal a map to the Grand Line, and the pink-haired kid is gonna join the Marines. They go to a bar, they see Zoro and Nami. Zoro starts a fight and gets himself put on a cross where he has to sit there for 7 days. We also have Nami running through here, also trying to steal the map to the Grand Line. So her and Luffy do a little bit of a team up, and Luffy frees Zoro, and they all fight all the Marines outside in the castle in the garden. And then they get a ship, they steal it, and they sail away to another island, and they need a better ship. So on this ship, they find a new island, and they see a ship which they like, and they meet Usopp, which is an interesting character, and someone which they do quite like, and they decide to join up with their crew. So we have Nami, the navigator, Zoro, the swordsman, the fighter, Luffy, the captain, and Usopp, the gunslinger, the long shot, the sniper, and we do start to learn a little bit more about their backstories, with Zoro's backstory, where he was on this swords like training island, and he made a promise to this other girl that he was going to become the best swordsman, and they trained together, and she ended up dying, so now he has to fulfill the promise to become the greatest swordsman in the world. We also get a bit more about Luffy's backstory, where he was a kid on an island, and Shanks was this pirate which he looked up to, and he brought back a load of treasure, including the most valuable Gum Gum fruit, which Luffy ended up eating, and now his body is elastic, so he has super stretchy abilities, which doesn't translate well into live action, but oh well. We continue on with Usopp's backstory as well, with his dad working for Shanks and disappearing to be a pirate, like just as he was about to be born. His mum got sick and his mum eventually died, and every single day he ran around the town shouting the pirates are coming, to try and get everyone hyped and excited, and to try and keep his spirit alive, to expect his dad to return home, which he never does. So, we go through all of their backstories, and we also travel back to the present, where they go to this lady's mansion who owns the shipyard, and they stay for tea. It's her birthday, they're excited, and the Marines chase them to the island, and the pink-haired boy follows them as well, and it turns out that the butler for this lady is evil and has been secretly poisoning her for such a long time, and he's actually a pirate which faked his own death years back. Luffy and the gang end up stopping him after getting poisoned themselves, after dying themselves, and getting thrown down wells. Usopp got the Marines came and took Luffy, and Luffy escaped with the help of Zoro, and they defeated the butler and he escaped on a little rowboat. We then have them getting the ship, and she gave it to them as like a thank you present, and they continue off their journey to the Grand Line, but they end up chased by Marines, and they stop off at Sanji's little cookboat, his little cook shop, and they end up getting a meal. He ends up being the cook boy. We meet a warlord of the ocean who fights Zoro in like a death battle. Says he's a good warrior and he needs to train up to challenge him again, but he's injured and he could practically die. We have Usopp getting drunk. We have Nami betraying them and going with the fish people. And we have Sanji joining the team and some more about his backstory and Nami's backstory. So Nami's backstory is that her mother and father was killed. She was adopted by a Marine who decided to retire. They lived out in this village. They were poor. She started stealing things, and the fish people killed her mother. So she went and was like, hey, I'll work for you, but when I earn enough money, you gotta let this village go. He agrees. That's her backstory. We then have Sanji's backstory, who he worked on a boat. Pirates invaded. The ship crashed in the storm. Him and this pirate were on a rock for 85 days. The pirate gave Sanji all the food, which lasted about 70 days, and the dude ended up eating his own leg. He then indebted his life to him and lived out the rest of his life up until now at the fish shop. Pretty interesting, but we're back to the present now, and Luffy gets his ass handed to him by the fishman. Nami goes with him, taking the map to the Grand Line, and they all sail off to chase Nami because Zoro's better, and they end up going to Nami's village because they have Boogie the Clown's head, and he has like listening to them and knows where they're going, and they get Nami back on their side, and they then go and attack the fish people's base. They destroy it, they win, all good and happy. Even the Marines catch up to them and they let them go because it's Luffy's granddad, and he's like, right, you're on your own now. And the series ends with everyone looking at Luffy's wanted poster. That's the quickest run through that I could do for all 8 episodes. I didn't want to spoil every little detail there. I just wanted to quickly gloss over it because I do want you to go watch it, as it is a good series. I will admit there is a couple of points that I do want to make. It does feel like everyone is dressed up in cosplay. The same similar thing that I had with Avatar. All their clothes are really clean. All their clothes are like super perfect, and it just feels like cosplay. It just looks like characters, like people dressed up as the characters. It doesn't actually feel like the characters or who they're actually supposed to be. We also have the issue of the background, which in some shots look really good, and in other shots look super green screen and super fake, and you can just tell that it's not real. And I know that it's not real, but you can just tell some shots are good, some shots are bad. It's like the current state of the MCU CGI. Very cheap, very low quality in some spaces, but in other spaces really good. Obviously, you can't make everything look good with CGI, and I feel like Sanji flying around, kicking everywhere, using his legs, which he's known for, looks off-putting because of how fast he's traveling through the air, and also Luffy's stretching looks abysmal. Again, it just goes to show that we can't have super speed or super stretching in live action without it looking really shit and plasticky and pretty garbage. I'm gonna be honest, they're my pretty much only nitpicks. I was slightly off-put by Sanji's actor. Again, I like Sanji, he's one of my favorites. Him, Zoro, and Ace, they're my 3 favorites from One Piece, and I was very off-putting by his actor, but watching it, his actor was actually really good, and I was quite proud of it, and I was happy with it. Again, like with my Avatar one, I could sit here all day and go over all the differences and all the little slight changes, slight tweaks, story alterations that they did to make the show reality, but I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to stay away from comparison and try and look at this as its own thing. And if One Piece didn't exist, would this show still be able to stand on its own, and will it still be good? If this was the only version of One Piece there was, would it be as good? Would it be as popular? Probably not, I'm going to be honest. If this was our first iteration of One Piece, I think it would end up like a Stranger Things situation, and it is very cringy. It is very cheesy. Some parts are supposed to be like that, and I get it. One Piece is very cringy and cheesy at sometimes, but it's animation. You can forgive it. You can sort of imagine it being that way because of it's being animated. With real people doing it, it's just seen as cringe and not good. So there is those elements to it, which again doesn't translate well to live action compared to animation and anime. But we got to give it the benefit of the doubt and try and let it be its own thing, I guess. I am excited for season 2, but I don't have much excitement for it. I'm going to be honest. I watched this. It did make me laugh. I did like Luffy's optimism, but when Luffy got serious, it didn't really feel that much like a hard situation. Luffy's actor, is really good at being the goofy side of Luffy, but when he tried to do the serious side of Luffy, it just didn't work, and I just didn't feel all that threatened. I didn't feel all that sort of tension. It just felt, okay, they're gonna go fight, they're gonna win. That's it. What was done really well was Zoro and Sanji's bickering. Their fighting was really good and really well done. Their constant arguing and their little stabs at each other was really nice, and I just liked that tension between them and how Zoro sort of felt threatened by Sanji. I kind of liked that and picked that up as we went along. However, Zoro's actor is so monotone and has no emotion and just stays dead the entire way through is quite draining. The kid version of Zoro had a lot of emotion. He cried, he was angry, he was happy, he was excited. All the emotions done really well. Adult Zoro, stone dead, stone heart, no emotion, no care in the world. Pretty boring and draining to watch. I genuinely didn't like Zoro as much of the live action as I did in the anime. My favorite characters from the live action was actually Nami, Sanji, Luffy, and Usopp. To be fair, I actually resonated a lot with this Usopp. Again, the One Piece characters have this built different aspect to them with the super long noses, the super like buff characters, or like massive characters, which you obviously can't replicate in real life. It would just be unrealistic and unproportionable, and it would just look like a Hulk situation, which isn't really what you want. But again, I felt like I really connected with this version of Usopp, where I didn't connect with him as much in the anime. So I quite like it. It has its differences, it has its different aspects, and its different ups, different downs compared to the anime. Like, it's got better positives, and obviously worses. It's, again, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It fits in that sort of aspect. If I watched it once, I probably won't watch it again, but it was good, and I'm happy to have watched it. It is way too long for me to watch again, and I probably won't ever watch it again. Not even when season 2 comes out, I'll probably just dive straight into season 2. But I don't even know if season 2 is in production or not. Boogie the Clown is also really good here as well. Again, his CGI on his like body parts was weird and very awkward to watch. I just didn't like how all of his fleshy parts moved. Again, not sure if that was the CGI's fault or if it was just how it looked. I don't know. But it does deserve its 6 out of 10. I do hope you all go and watch it and try it for yourself and give it a chance, because it deserved the chance at least. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed. See you all next one. Have a nice day, and goodbye. Stay home and stay safe.